Alright, what is up guys, Nate4 here and welcome back to another movie review, and today we're going to be talking about what is arguably the most anticipated film of the year, being Avatar: The Way of Water, or just simply Avatar 2, whatever floats your boat, alright? And it's been a decade since we've seen the first one, so if you haven't seen that movie in a while, or you haven't seen it at all, I would highly recommend you go and watch it, or just go and watch one of those Avatar and 10-minute type movies, like a little summary, a little condensed version of it. I think that would help you a lot, give you a bit of a refresher, so go and do that before you watch this new film. And we're going to do it our typical format. The first half of this video will just be me just explaining the overall vibe of the movie, the gist of it pretty much. And then once we get to the halfway point, that's when I will give the indicator for spoiler territory, so you can click off, go and watch it for yourself, and then come back and rewatch it if you would like. But yeah, that's just the way I do things here on the channel. In case you're new and you did not know, now you do. But is this movie living up to the hype? Was it as good as people said it was? Is it better than the original? Is it the best film of 2022? Well, let's talk about it. And honestly, before I even start this thing off, I just want to give a huge shout out and give a lot of praise to the VFX team, the people who do the CGI and the special effects, because it's not an easy task, man, and that's really what this movie relies on. That's the main selling point. And it was even the main selling point back in 2009 when the first one came out. Everyone's like, wow, like this looks amazing, it's unlike anything we've ever seen before. And that's kind of like the skeptical, you know, it's a visual skeptical, and this movie does not disappoint in that department. So huge shout out to everyone who worked on the visuals for this movie. This movie was beautiful, probably the most beautiful film I have ever seen in my entire life. So that couldn't have been an easy task. And James Cameron, he has a very impressive resume. He's worked on, you know, the first Avatar movie, the Terminator films, the Titanic. So the man has hits. He has some of the most iconic films in history, and this one is another exception. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, man. I thought this movie was pretty good. It's not perfect. I don't think it's a perfect film, but it's definitely one of the contenders for best film of the year. And I can already tell that this movie is going to win a lot of awards. Like in terms of action and the visuals, like this movie was really impressive for the most part, man. I think it has maybe only like one thing about it that I just didn't think was a strong point of the film, but it wasn't necessarily bad, but I'll talk about that later. But overall, I enjoyed the movie. It's a bit of a lengthier movie, honestly, and James Cameron, he did make a good point, the director. He is like, you know, people will complain about this movie being too long, and then they'll go and binge watch an entire TV series. And he kind of has a point, you know? He kind of has a point with that, actually, and I hate to admit it, but it's kind of true. And I do think that that's probably the main complaint people will have with this movie, is just the runtime. And it's a lengthier film, yeah, sure, but in order to watch this movie at its peak, I would highly recommend that you watch this movie in either IMAX, so you get like the bigger screen, the best experience, or 3D, so everything looks amazing. And you know, maybe even D-Box, you know, the seats that rock with the movie. You know, if you're someone who's like, you know, I just got paid, I got a few extra dollars to throw around, you know, why not? Go treat yourself, okay? Go do it. But I'd say if you watch it in 3D, like I did myself, definitely take a break from looking every now and then, because your eyes will be kind of sore if you're not used to 3D, because watching a 3-hour long movie in 3D is an experience. It's a very beautiful movie, like I said, and I do like how this movie takes breaks from the action and the story to really like highlight and show off the, you know, just, I don't even know the word for it, dude, just the sheer visuals of this movie. And it really pushes it, man. It's like James Cameron, he was like, hey, you might not like me, man, but you're gonna respect this. You're gonna respect this movie. You're gonna enjoy these visuals, okay? And it's a lot to see in this film. So if you're someone who loves I don't know, photography, visuals, and stuff like that, then I would highly recommend this movie. That's definitely the selling point for this movie, and it does it well, man. This movie looks fantastic. And even if you hated the first Avatar movie, even if you hate this one, you're like, oh, the plot is whack, all this and that, you at least have to admit that the movie looks good. So I'm actually really glad that they went with the title, The Way of Water, because every scene that's shot in the water is just so visually pleasing and breathtaking. Like you have to experience it for yourself. So 3D or IMAX to experience it at its best. If you watch this in like a standard format, it won't do it justice. But enough about the visuals. That's been established. The action that's in this film, not necessarily consistent, but the action scenes that are present are really, really good, especially in the third act. I thought the new characters were really fun. They were really cool. And I like how it's not just the two main characters that get all the screen time. It's also the villain. He has a pretty good presence, and you understand why he's doing what he's doing. And it's actually pretty reasonable. And the children, very likable. They had a good amount of screen time, and they make their presence felt, and you like it, and you feel for it. And this movie, it has that tension that I really like, because you have to understand, these aren't just like superhero mutants, or, you know, they're not invincible. They don't have, you know, bulletproof skin or whatever. They can be damaged at any point in time. They can be killed at any time. So you definitely feel that presence, like, oh man, this character is about to drown, or oh man, if this character gets shot right now, this character can die. So I like that urgency that this film has. Like, you understand that they're not invincible. They can go at any point in time. And I thought that was really cool, because like when they're in the water for a long period of time, you hear their heartbeat, and you know, it makes you like, oh my god, like, you know, go up you know. And your heartbeat, it actually happened to me in the theater when I watched it, man. Like, my heartbeat was actually synced with the character's heartbeat that was about to drown. So I thought that was really cool. I don't know if that was intentional, but that was really cool. And I think this is a good point to get into spoiler territory. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, click off now, go watch the movie for yourself, and then come back whenever is a convenient time for you, you know. And yeah, you've been warned. But honestly, like I said, I enjoyed the movie throughout. I thought the villain was pretty cool. The Colonel, he was pretty cool. And like I said, you get his reason for doing what he's doing, because in his eyes, he's like, yo, like, I took you under my wing, and you betray us humans. You know, you killed good people, good soldiers, and this is how you treat me. You betray me for these people, bro. And you feel for that, honestly. You're kind of like, okay, I can actually see why he feels that way. It's one of the more reasonable motives, honestly, and I actually respect that. It's not like, oh, I want world domination or nothing like that. It's not like a generic plot. So I thought that was cool. The children that's introduced in the film, they're all pretty likable, man. They all have their own, you know, different personality traits, and they're really cool. They meet a bunch of new, I don't remember what they're called. We'll just say like a different race, pretty much. And they were cool. They're more like water types. So instead of how they are in Pandora, where they're like climbing up trees in the wilderness and stuff like that, these new species or whatever, they're more water-based, kind of like Pokemon in a sense. So I thought they were really cool, except for the water-based kids. They sucked, dude. They were so freaking annoying and rude for no reason, honestly, bro. Like, it's like they were just written for you to dislike them, and oh my god, they were really annoying for me. But yeah, at the end of the day, the visuals are honestly what saves this movie, in my opinion. The runtime, it's a bit long. I feel like you can cut off about 20 minutes. The plot itself, a little, I won't say bare bones, but it is. But I mean, it has such a long runtime so that the pacing is fine. And I'm glad that, you know, it takes breaks between like the action and the story to really appreciate the visuals and everything like that, like a bit of like a slice of life type of deal. And I think it works, man. The pacing for some people might be a little weird, but given the runtime, I feel like they had a lot of time to really work around some of the issues. And I liked it because I feel like this movie has a bit of something for everyone. You know, it's got that action aspect, it has the visual aspect, it has, you know, a good amount of comedy in it that doesn't overstay its welcome. And the comedy in here was actually pretty funny. You know, I actually found myself laughing quite a bit. It didn't, you know, overstay its welcome at all, so I thought that was pretty good. Interesting new characters and stuff like that. There wasn't an end credit scene or a post credit scene, so it doesn't really spoil anything for the upcoming Avatar films. But I do find it interesting that this movie has to make over $2 billion to break even. For this movie to be successful, it has to make $2 billion. So maybe it can be on, you know, the same ranks as the first one financially. I guess we just have to wait and see. I'd say I enjoyed it better than the first one. I don't know if it's movie of the year for me personally, but it's up there. So I give this movie about a 9 out of 10. Not perfect, but it's pretty damn good. But I'm in A4 and I am out. Peace.